November 19, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Looked like there was a couple of stair steps down, two couple swing legs down, then a rally, consolidation, and another rally, another consolidation, and another final move up. It looked like it also fit pretty well in one big continuous channel. So this is what it looked like as I drew it out. It looked like it was one leg down with multiple swings inside, one big leg up, which I didn't find until later in the day, pretty much when this one touched, because I did have one touch, two touch, three touch, but this is just kind of hanging out here by itself. I had another confirmation here. And when I drew this, I wasn't sure about the top side because this is a very large range with a lot of price action not quite making it to the ends. So I was trading a lot of these trading ranges with swings ups and downs. I took a total of 4 trades today, which was probably 2 trades more than I should have. And after the second trade, which was a loss, so I won. First trade, I was a winner. Second trade was a loss. Third trade was a winner. And then the fourth trade was also a winner. But I do know that after the second trade, because the second, third, and fourth trade were kind of in quick succession, I could feel mentally my anxiety and feeling of revenge and tilt creeping in. So after the fourth trade, which was a win, and I got all my losses back, I knew I should definitely call it a day because I was at very close risk of having another bad day, like I did a couple of days ago, where I took 5 trades or 6 trades and I lost them 5 in a row. That was just really bad. So I'm in the rebuild process for sure. And definitely I was smart enough to know to just at least walk away. But in the moment, I took some, you'll see, pretty poor trades. So I'm going to get into the price action right now. There was quite a bit of volume today. In the pre-market, it looked like it was 2 legs up, hit the pre-market highs, kind of 2 legs down, another correction, another leg down. It looked like it fit in this green down channel down. And then there was a push up, which for the most part looked like it fit nicely in this orange up channel. Although I'm not around to trade it, I was looking back and I saw it was a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long, and then a higher low here. I was thinking maybe there's a trade here at this higher low because it does confirm by the time you get to here, it does confirm the support line of this yellow orange up channel. The top side resistance doesn't really quite fit as well because here it cuts through this and this. If you take the top side, maybe about right here with a small little breach, another touch, another touch. So up until this point, it does look pretty good. Higher low, it seems reasonable. If you did draw a range here, it looks like it's kind of on its way to the other side. So maybe there's a trade there, but as I said, I don't trade the pre-market. It's really early in the day. I also want to point out there was no economic data that came out to really move the market, so you didn't have to worry about that. Then there was this really big sell-off here. Bounce, break of this green down channel, tested the low, and then made another attempt, failed. I like this, but I didn't take the trade because I wasn't around. I like that it was a break of the low. So here you're thinking the downtrend has played out. This is a really strong signal bar, ticked 1 tick. I think it's actually 2 ticks. Let's see, from here to here, actually 1 tick below, and then engulfed this previous red bar and closed the high. The high itself was even, or closed at the near the high. It was even higher than the highs of this candle. So that's a very strong rejection, very strong move back up. So there might have been a higher low trade there. Again, this is the free market, so I'm not around to take it. Prices look like they're moving on this orange up channel, broke, and hit this consolidation area. I didn't draw this yellow up channel till a little bit later, till about right here. I saw 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. So it fit pretty well as a trend line. And I made it into a trend channel, which looked like it went from not really very clear here, but 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, arguably a fourth touch. So this yellow up channel seems to be in play. I saw a new high here, first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long, another third entry long, but you're also in a trading range. So it's moving along, and I thought it was a new low here. Excuse me. It's actually where I take my first trade. It's a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short, I was thinking early on, is this going to be a failed breakout and move back into range? It touched and it bounced back. So I'm thinking it's a failed breakout pullback. I'm thinking it's going to continue upwards. It's a new low. First entry short right here. Second entry short right here. This second entry short has failed. Then it comes around and it creates this higher low, confirming this failed second entry. So I like that. It also bounced nicely off this yellow up channel support. I do consider it slightly riskier because it is breaking to new highs, but I did like that it was bouncing off this yellow. EMA is holding support. Granted, it was a small breach here, but it was already kind of on its way up. Breakout pullback is confirmed. I entered right at the low. So actually opened here, flushed a little bit. I wanted to get a better entry because my stop's way down here, and I wanted to minimize the stop. So you can see it's 89.50, and my stop loss was down here at 86.25. So that's actually 3.25 points of risk. And I was going for a quick scalp, consider taking 2 points, but I was just not sure. I didn't want to press my luck, but I just kind of like the setup, so I did enter. Granted, it is a little riskier. And I got in and I got stopped out on my runner here because after the pushed up here, my runner is actually 1 point above this initial entry. But as it was flushing up, I just said I want to just kind of second guess my idea of even having a runner. I felt like I should have just taken the whole position off here because I am looking at a potential, ambiguity right here. So I moved it up to where the other pretty much chunk of contracts are taken off, and then I got stopped out. It looks like if I hung out and I kept it one tick above here, I would have gotten taken out by this candle anyways. And then it kind of pushes up. It's a consolidation, flushes down. Now it looks like it's going down on this green down channel. Keep in mind this red trend line doesn't exist yet. Also, this purple down channel was after the fact. It was more of a guideline. I could actually delete it because it didn't really help out at all. And this red one doesn't exist yet. As I said, it exists later. I didn't find it till later. Prices move down, has an overshoot, and it breaks up to the high side. Breaks with the orange channel, first attempt up. Technically a second attempt. I don't like this setup. I don't like this price action because it's just very, very congested. Prices move up, clearly tested the highs. First entry long. You have a second entry long. It's a rather small signal bar because it's only 6 ticks, but it doesn't really tell me anything. I do have this as a potential trend line draw, not trend line, trading range drawn, but I was second guessing where it actually was at the time. So it's hard to say that it would have bounced off of here because this is after the fact. It could have been actually lower here, maybe, because I was thinking it was actually lower here. I also had it up here at one time, but I didn't like, when I was up here, I didn't like the 2 failed breakouts. But then it was down here. Later, I settled on here. As you're going to see, it kind of fits pretty nicely later, but that's already after the fact. Prices move up. Yes, second entries both on the long and short side, but I don't like this type of price action where it's just very, very tight trading. Just moving, creating it easy to get stopped out. It's just hard to know for sure and feel confident on these entries. It comes down, it bounces. So this is actually where I had, when I dragged it was here. I said, okay, there's one touch, two touch, but I actually like this and this. So I'm actually going to drag it up a little bit right here. Creates a lower high here. I thought this was a possible trade because it's a new high. First entry long, pull back. Second entry long, push up. It looks like it's hitting some kind of resistance here. Some kind of resistance that the previous price action has respected. And it's a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So second entry short, first entry long, second entry long, failure. Second entry short confirmed. And you also get a higher low as a bonus, excuse me, lower high as a bonus because it looked like it couldn't break through resistance. This could be some kind of top of the range here, from here down to here. So I was thinking there's enough momentum to push down to the bottom side. I'm not worried about this red line because this red line, as I said, doesn't really exist yet. So just ignore it for now. But I'm thinking enough room to push down. But I just want a better signal bar. I just wanted a little bit close, a close more closer to the low. But I thought this was a possible trade. Looked like it would have worked though, at least for a scalp. If you waited for, let's see, You would have gotten arguably 2 points off of this, but anything more, you probably would have gotten stopped out by this big candle here. Then prices flush up. It's kind of climbing now. There's no clean second entries. Nothing I can do but just sit and wait. You have a first entry long. Again, it just keeps going, makes a new high. Again, there's a double top here because you could say there's a first entry long, but it made a new high, not new high, matching high, so count resets. Second entry long if you counted it differently, but it's still first entry long in my book. The prices just keep going up. It's just very not the cleanest setups here. Then I finally get this. I thought this is also a possible trade. It's a new high, not the high of day, but new high. The first entry long pullback creates a second entry long pullback. Second entry long, I mean, you could say maybe it failed here when it broke below, but I also saw this as a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Now, is this second entry short failed? Yes, right here. It's about to fail. And the second entry long technically has failed because it broke below. But you're thinking, am I really going to go short on this clearly strong uptrend? I don't think so. But am I going to go long? There's more going for the long than the short because it is a second entry short failure. It's a decent signal bar. It's holding and bouncing off this orange up channel support and the EMA, and it's a really decent signal bar. So I thought this is a possible trade, at least for a scalp, and it looked like you would have gotten it here. The prices continue moving up. EMA is holding pretty nicely. EMA and the lower support of the yellow up channel are kind of coinciding. That's something I really like. So I'm looking for another setup, and then I probably wouldn't hesitate like I did here to just jump on it. Prices move up. You have a second entry long here. It's too far from the EMA. I don't like that. It's just really hugging the top side of this channel now. So it's telling me just to be more cautious. I'm thinking of going long. You technically have a new high, but then it resets here. So it's a first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long. So this is I'm going to have about 2 trades in quick succession. It's going to be my trade number 2, which I lose on, and then trade number 3, which takes place really shortly after trade number 2. And that for sure, I already recognized once I entered the trade, I was creeping into tilt territory because there was a loss on the second trade. So it's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long, it pulls back here. When it pulls back here, I see a possible bounce off this yellow up channel, neglecting the fact that it had a breakout here. So I was justifying entering on this trade because it was moving back into the yellow up channel. So I saw this and I anticipated incorrectly a higher low. So I just perceived a higher low without confirmation because the next candle could go lower, which it did. So when this is forming, I entered here because it bounced here, it was floating back, and I said, I don't want to miss out on this potential trade. I'm going to enter right here. And right before the candle closed, I was entering, so closed at the high, not didn't close the high, closed right where I entered, said, okay, great, just has to move 1 point. Then it flushes down and stops me out. And that was, well, this is a trade that should have been skipped because there was no justification to take this trade other than me convincing myself that it was bounced off this yellow up channel support. EMA has been breached. It's failed now. Previously, it was all pretty strongly. Even this breach was one close outside, but immediately came back in. This is one close outside. Second candle didn't have enough power to even make it through like it did here. So that should have given me pause. And as you can see previously before that, it was just like all the way down here, it had a break, and then immediately the next candle moved back in. And then here is a different story. But up until then, it was all really strong reaction. So I should have taken a hint when I saw this, had trouble moving back up into EMA. So took the trade, got punished for it. But then I saw this and I said, this looks like a higher low, the real higher low. Now, this is only like 2 minutes after this trade. So I lost, wiped out my profits, feeling a little hot under the collar. And I saw this and I said, clearly this is a higher low, close to the high. I enter. I enter one tick above, and I was very lucky because EMA is kind of flat now. And I'm also lucky because this wasn't really even a clean setup. I didn't, I just waited for the break of the EMA on here. So it opened, it flushed up, it broke, and I said, that's good enough for me, which isn't a good reason to take a trade. Entered. This is a bad signal bar. I was fortunate it flushed up and took out my core position. And I in this case, I didn't even bother with a runner. I just said, I want to get it back. I want it all back. And so I just quickly took the 1 point scalp. Even if I did have a runner, you could see that it would have gotten stopped out probably on this candle. So better in this case to just get it all out. And that's what I did. But in itself, this is a weak higher, it's a weak higher low for sure. But it's a weak justification to take this trade. So kind of the insight into my thinking at the time was different, definitely very, very, I guess, risky and dangerous mentality right here because I didn't take the loss well. So that caused me to jump in immediately. And I was just, for the most part, lucky that this trade worked out. Then prices continue moving. It hits this consolidation area and it sets up for the second trade. Actually, this fourth trade, because this is trade two, trade three, loss, win. First one was a win. And this actually won on this one. So it's actually new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, consolidates. I also saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short. So this one actually had better reasoning to take this trade. When I was watching these prices unfold, I said, okay, it pushed up. This is a really strong push up. It failed to break on this red candle. Came back down, closed strongly. This one ticked below and flushed up, and it closed, semi-strong here. But this is one, two, three inside bars to this candle. So these three subsequent candles are all inside the range of this guy. So this itself is kind of like a mini trading range. So I saw this break of this green up channel. I said, I bet there are a lot of stops right up here, right one tick above this 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 quadruple high right here. And I figured if it hit, a lot of stops might get breached and it could push up. So when this actually opened, flushed down, it went up above my entry. I said, I like that. It pushed up. I like the fact that I felt like it's going to go test the highs here. Technically, it already did it here. But when it hit here, I felt like also at the time, candle time or tick time, it was running out of ticks. So this candle is about to close. And when it broke above, I really like that. So I dropped in my order one, not one tick, but right at the highs of this, hoping it would come back because the tick count was running out. You're getting very close to closing. And I wasn't sure I was going to get filled. I luckily got filled and it flushed up on the next candle, opened and immediately filled me. So that was really good. I didn't want to risk, so I was close to trying to scrape back my loss. And I moved uh, I moved my stop from one tick below here, not to one tick above, but as this is forming, I said, I think I just want to get out because just like this one where I took the whole position off, I said, that's probably the way to go. So I just moved it all the way up to one tick above this guy just to cover commissions. And I got stopped out. And as you can see, if I waited or hesitated even more, my runner would have gotten taken out anyways by this guy. So this is actually just by chance. So no skill here is more like today has been kind of a tricky, choppy day. I don't see, I mean, unless there's a really pristine setup, I was more okay with just, probably taking the whole thing off. Wasn't feeling confident, just take the runner off. Why risk giving any profit back? Long explanation, long explanation for these three trades. Anyways, prices move back down, breaks out of this low. When it hits here, that's where I started trusting this red trend line as a potential channel. At least the bottom side looks like it's pretty reliable. So I have it drawn all the way up to here now, but I was also just grateful that I was back in the green and just thinking I should hang up my hat because I can't trust my mental judgment at this point. I was getting triggered. So after this trade, I didn't take any more trades, but I was watching. Break pushes up. The fail breakout of this potential range. Then I see this lower high. Unfortunately, this lower high, it's an almost trade. I did like it was a lower high, but I didn't like that it failed to breach below this candle. If it closed at least at the lows, at the very least, then I would have felt like, okay, maybe there's a trade here. It's a fail breakout moving back into range, but it kind of failed to break below this, so it made me pause. I mean, I wasn't going to take the trade anyways, though, because out of this fiasco here. But I was just thinking in real time, like might be ideally better if it broke below this guy, and pushed below the EMA. That would have been just even perfect, but it failed two of those three criteria, so I just didn't want to even think about that. Prices move. It's a first entry, second entry short. It's a bad signal bar. Wouldn't have thought of going short there. Prices move up, floats up. It just gets really choppy here. Technically, you have a new high, first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here, but it's not really a good setup because it's a bearish bar to go long on. Prices then continue moving up. And similar to this crawl up, you don't really get any clean second entries. It's all really just first entries and a lot of sideways movement, a lot of dojis, a lot of small candles. Starts moving down, starts creeping down on this orange down channel. No clean second entries. There's technically a second entry short here, but it's just doji. It's far from the EMA. It's potentially running into this red trend line support that I trusted so much. So in real time, seeing this, and I'm thinking, and then it breaks through. It's like I'm still not trusting, because it could still bounce and move back up. It starts flushing through. There's a lot of choppy action. Pretty much a trading range here. It starts creeping back up. The first entry long, technically you have a second entry long here, but these aren't good signal bars. Yellow up channel doesn't exist yet. Chops around, this is just really, really tight trading. It starts going up on this yellow up channel, which I'm starting to believe in or have reliability on, but there's no clean second entries. It starts to push up, but there's no way that I could see to safely enter here. The first entry long, you technically have a second entry long here, but it's an inside bar, so I would not have thought about taking a long just yet. I'm looking for a higher low. You don't get that higher low. It's a break of the green channel, just the low. Still looking for a higher low. Potential higher low here. Maybe it's moving into this yellow up channel. Decent signal bar, but yeah, I didn't feel it. I didn't really like it. Technically, you could also have drawn a shortened trend channel here. And it does want to test the highs. It looks like it wouldn't have worked. It looks like you might have gotten stopped out. The new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. This is actually decent because it broke below the EMA, broke one tick below, and closed really strongly. So I'll actually mark this as a possible second entry long. However, if you look at the timestamp, this is 1 minute before the close. So even though this is a possible trade or a setup, I'm not going to take this trade because you look at the timestamp, it's 12:59 and 38 seconds Pacific Standard. The, the market's closing in 22 seconds. I don't want to be a part of that. As you can see in the last 22 seconds, you have 5, 6, 2,000 tick chart, 2,000 tick bars, which is just, a lot of things flushing through. It moves into the close. It's kind of how I saw the charts today. As you can see, the first trade was this first trade was a little riskier. Second trade shouldn't have happened. It was just a anticipation, anticipated it wrong, got punished for it. Third trade was also a little risky because it was kind of a reaction to the loss in the second trade. So the higher low, I put an X because it wasn't well thought out. It isn't even a higher low in high after the fact. The third trade is a higher low, but just not the cleanest setup. Should have been skipped. These two should have been skipped completely. And then this one was a kind of a read of the situation, thinking there's going to be some stops above this quadruple high. So, and in hindsight, I think the perfect world would have just been 2 out of the 4 trades taken. I would have been 2 for 2, but it was actually 3 for 4, 3 wins out of 4 trades. But yeah, it was just a little more anxious and a little more angst that I forced on myself that I shouldn't have. So hopefully that was helpful.